Mark had woken up that morning with a simple goal: to savor a moment of tranquility before the chaos of the day swept him away. The sun filtered through the vibrant cafe windows, casting warm rays on polished wooden tables where patrons enjoyed their morning brews and pastries. He ordered his favorite black coffee, cradling the steaming cup as he settled into a corner seat away from the rush. As he took his first sip, the rich flavor ignited a sense of calm that enveloped him. After weeks filled with work-related stress, this moment was his sanctuary. He observed the bustle around him, laughter shared between friends, lovers lingering over breakfast, and the barista's easy smile as she exchanged banter with regulars. For Mark, it was a snapshot of normalcy, a precious reprieve in an unpredictable world. However, this peace was fleeting. While gazing out at the lively street scene through the glass window, he noticed two men loitering near the entrance. Their furtive glances and hushed tones immediately unsettled him. Something about their demeanor struck a nerve deep within him. Unbeknownst to Mark, his instincts were already sharpening, silently preparing for what was to come. Just as he contemplated whether to alert someone or leave it be, an ear-shattering explosion erupted outside, followed by a rush of smoke and screams. The serene atmosphere shattered in an instant, and chaos erupted around him. Adrenaline surged through Mark's veins as his desire for peace transformed into a fierce determination to act amidst the unfolding nightmare. As Mark glanced out the cafe window, the cheerful chatter around him faded into the background. His attention was drawn to the two men loitering by the cafe entrance. Their posture was tense. They shifted from foot to foot, casting furtive glances at one another, and then nervously scanning the surrounding crowd. A knot tightened in his stomach as he recognized the unsettling nature of their behavior. While most patrons remained oblivious to the brewing tension, Mark's instincts kicked in. He leaned forward in his seat, his heart racing as he tried to decipher what might be unfolding before him. The fact that they were dressed in mismatched clothing, one in a dark hoodie and the other sporting a cap pulled low, only fueled his discomfort. This was a picture of something hidden, perhaps malice lurking beneath their seemingly casual facade. Mark's mind raced with possibilities. Could they be up to no good? Were they just ordinary people acting suspiciously? Or did they pose a real threat? He quickly scanned the cafe, weighing his options. Should he warn others or call for help? The tension in the air felt palpable as he noticed a group of children nearby, laughing and playing, blissfully unaware of the potential danger. Just then, one of the men pulled something from his pocket, creating an instinctual response within Mark. In that split second of uncertainty and fear, he could no longer ignore the urgency of the moment. Something was about to happen that would change everything. The moment the object emerged from the man's pocket, time seemed to freeze for Mark. An overwhelming sense of dread washed over him, and before he could register what it was, a thunderous explosion erupted, shattering the stillness of the morning. A blinding flash of light enveloped the cafe, followed by a deafening roar that rattled the windows and sent everyone reeling. The blast knocked Mark backward, his chair clattering to the floor as dust and debris filled the air. Panic erupted like wildfire. Screams echoed through the cafe as patrons dove for cover, tables overturned in a chaotic scramble. Smoke billowed in thick clouds, obscuring vision and choking anyone who inhaled it. The once vibrant cafe was transformed into a nightmarish scene, filled with chaos and confusion. Mark struggled to regain his footing amidst the disarray. Adrenaline surged through him as he instinctively checked himself for injuries. Though momentarily disoriented, he quickly focused on the desperate cries of civilians around him. The instinct to act took over. He couldn't remain a passive observer any longer. His heart raced as he surveyed the area, searching for anyone trapped or injured in the aftermath of the explosion. A child's wail pierced through the smoke, igniting a fierce determination within him. With no weapons and outnumbered by both chaos and confusion, Mark steeled himself for what was to come. The time for hesitation had passed. This was now his moment to confront the unfolding disaster head-on and protect those who couldn't protect themselves. The air was thick with acrid smoke, swirling and choking clouds that obscured everything around Mark. The once bustling cafe had devolved into a scene of utter disarray. Terrified patrons scrambled for safety beneath overturned tables, while others shouted for help amidst the chaos. The reality of a terror attack pressed down on him like a heavy weight, transforming his initial shock into an urgent need to act. Mark surveyed the scene, hyper-aware of the panic unfolding around him. His heart pounded as he caught sight of injured civilians, some laying motionless while others struggled to crawl away from the debris. His gut twisted at the sight of a woman clutching her bleeding arm, her face etched with fear. Instinctively, he started moving toward her but paused, scanning for any immediate threats that could still be lurking. He was unarmed and surrounded by chaos. The thought stung but lit a fire within him. There was no time to dwell on his lack of weapons or training. People needed help now. With each breath, he drew strength from the instinctual drive to protect those who were vulnerable. In that moment, his mind raced with possibilities. Where could he find first aid? Who else might need assistance? Mark felt an unfamiliar clarity surge through him as he stepped forward into the haze, propelled by determination and fueled by a fierce resolve to turn this nightmare around. He had no choice. He would become the rescuer in this unfolding tragedy. Mark's pulse thundered in his ears as chaos reigned around him. The cries of the terrified mingled with the acrid scent of smoke, and he felt a surge of fury at the senseless violence. He could not wait for someone else to take control. He had to act. Drawing on every ounce of adrenaline, he stepped into the fray, raising his voice above the din. "Everyone listen to me! Find a safe place and stay low!" he shouted, his command cutting through the chaos. A few nearby civilians paused to look at him, their expressions a mix of fear and uncertainty. "We need to organize. If anyone can help others who are injured, do it quickly." Mark spotted an elderly man struggling to regain his footing as he clutched a shaken child. He moved closer, gesturing for them to follow him. "This way. We need to get out of here," he urged, guiding them toward the cafe's back exit where they might find some shelter from the ongoing turmoil. As he helped them navigate through the smoke-filled interior, Mark quickly scanned the area for more people needing assistance. "Is anyone hurt? Let me know," he called out, his focus unwavering. Fueled by anger at what had transpired and urgency to protect those around him, Mark felt a sense of clarity in the chaos. He started devising a plan in his mind. If he could lead some of these civilians to safety while checking for others needing help, perhaps they could make a difference against the horrors unfolding outside. The fight within him was ignited. He was determined to reclaim control over the disaster that had engulfed them. As Mark guided the elderly man and child towards safety, his instinctual leadership began to shine amidst the chaos. With each step, he exuded a calmness that seemed to ripple through the panicked crowd around him. "Stay close," he called over the cacophony of screams and alarms, recognizing the need for reassurance in such a tumultuous moment. He quickly assessed the scene before him. People were dazed and disoriented, some crying while others frantically searched for loved ones. Mark noticed a young woman struggling to help her friend, who had collapsed on the floor. Instead of hesitating, he rushed over to assist them. "We need to get her out of here," he said firmly, helping to lift the injured girl onto his shoulder, even as adrenaline surged through him. Mark's ability to think on his feet became increasingly evident. He utilized every ounce of composure he could muster, directing groups of civilians towards exits and encouraging them to move quickly yet calmly. "Follow me. We'll get through this together," he shouted, instilling a sense of purpose that galvanized those around him. The chaos seemed momentarily subdued as individuals rallied under his guidance. They began to work together in ways they hadn't thought possible. Mark's presence transformed him from an ordinary cafe-goer into an unlikely hero, a beacon of hope in a suffocating haze of fear. As he continued to push forward with determination, he realized this role was no longer about mere survival. It was about making a tangible difference in the lives surrounding him during this crisis. With the first wave of panic beginning to settle, Mark's focus shifted to the immediate task at hand, locating victims among the wreckage. The cafe was now a surreal landscape of toppled furniture, shattered glass, and thick smoke that blurred visibility. He knew that time was of the essence. Every moment spent hesitating could cost someone their life. He scanned the debris-strewn floor, his heart racing as he spotted a figure lying motionless beneath a collapsed table. Mark's instincts kicked in, and he quickly assessed the area for potential hazards, ensuring that the way was clear before moving forward. "Stay here," he instructed the elderly man and child, his voice firm yet reassuring. Darting towards the fallen victim, he carefully navigated through the chaos, pushing aside debris to reach a young woman trapped beneath the heavy table. Her face was pale, and she was struggling to breathe amidst the dust and smoke. "I've got you," Mark said softly, trying to ease her anxiety as he lifted the table just enough for her to crawl free. Once she emerged, he helped her to her feet and glanced around to identify others in immediate danger. A few feet away, he noticed two men trying to lift an unconscious friend from a tangle of chairs. Without hesitation, he motioned for them to follow him. "We need to get everyone out of here," he shouted, urgency threading through his voice. Mark prioritized those who were most vulnerable, those who couldn't move on their own or were hidden from view. As he rallied others to assist him in rescuing victims, A sense of purpose surged within him. This was more than survival. It was about saving lives, one person at a time. As Mark continued his rescue efforts, a chilling realization struck him. The danger wasn't just from the chaos of the explosion. The two suspicious men were still somewhere nearby. His instincts kicked in once more as he quietly scanned the smoke-filled room, his heart racing with a mix of adrenaline and purpose. It was time to confront one of the threats head-on. Suddenly he caught sight of one of the suspects pushing through the crowd, seemingly searching for something, or someone. That cold determination coursed through Mark's veins as he stepped into the man's path, blocking his way. "You need to stop right there," Mark shouted, his voice cutting through the tumult like a knife. The suspect paused, surprise flashing across his face before it morphed into defiance. Mark could see that he was armed, perhaps a knife or some other weapon tucked in a waistband. Every instinct told Mark to be cautious, but he couldn't back down now. People were depending on him. "Get out of here while you can," Mark urged forcefully, maintaining eye contact to convey certainty and strength. The man hesitated for just a moment, a crucial pause that allowed Mark to gauge his next move. Realizing he had the upper hand with this distraction, he called out toward nearby civilians.
"Everyone this way, now!"
Mark stood firm between the suspect and those trying to escape, displaying an unyielding resolve that seemed to shift the atmosphere around him. He knew this might escalate quickly, but turning away was not an option. He had chosen to face this threat directly and would do everything in his power to protect those who couldn't defend themselves. Mark stood his ground, the tension thick in the air as he faced the armed suspect. As his voice rang out, rallying civilians to escape, he noticed a few bystanders beginning to respond to his command. The initial shock of their surroundings seemed to dissipate as they looked to him for direction. Encouraged by their willingness to help, Mark seized the moment. "Come on! We need more hands! Help me!" he shouted, gesturing toward the nearest people who were still frozen in fear. A young man from a nearby table, a college student perhaps, stepped forward. "What can I do?" he asked, determination flickering in his eyes. "Check for any injured people over there." Mark pointed toward a group huddled behind the bar area, where several individuals were trying to help one another. "If you find anyone who needs immediate assistance, shout out." As Mark continued to hold his position against the suspect, others began to mobilize around him. A woman with medical training quickly joined the young man, diving into action as they moved toward the injured. Soon more civilians followed suit, each contributing their efforts to rescue and care for those trapped or hurt. With each passing moment, Mark's bravery ignited an infectious spirit of collaboration among the crowd. They transformed from frightened patrons into proactive responders against the terror unfolding around them. Together they created a united front, a community rising with hope amidst despair. As Mark saw others courageously springing into action, he felt a renewed strength. This was no longer just his fight, it was theirs too. In this critical moment, a makeshift team emerged from the chaos, a beacon of resilience that could withstand any threat together. With the makeshift team now working together, Mark felt a surge of urgency to increase their efforts. They formed a human chain, guiding civilians towards safer exits while tending to those who had been injured. Despite their collective determination, the atmosphere was charged with danger, and the threat escalated as they heard distant rumblings, an ominous sign that another explosion could be imminent. "Move quickly!" Mark shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos as he spotted a small group of people hesitating near a fallen beam. It was clear they were in shock, frozen by fear. "We need to get out now! Follow me!" As he moved to help them, a second explosion erupted nearby, sending shockwaves through the café that rattled its very foundation. Dust and debris rained down on them, and panic surged anew among the crowd. The scene turned frantic as those closest to the blast scrambled for cover, but Mark remained focused. He shielded a child from falling debris with his own body, gritting his teeth against the chaos. "Stay low. Stay together," he commanded, encouraging those around him to keep moving despite the chaos. His fierce determination was infectious, driving the group forward as they navigated through the wreckage. Together, they worked efficiently to carry the wounded and lead others to safety, each person playing a crucial role in this collaborative effort. Every moment counted as they faced obstacles. Even amidst explosions and uncertainty, they pressed on. United by a shared sense of purpose, they embodied resilience in the face of overwhelming odds, determined to make it out alive together. As the dust began to settle and the echoes of chaos faded, Mark paused to take stock of what they had accomplished. The makeshift team had successfully evacuated a significant number of civilians, each step forward filled with courage and resilience. He watched as the last few individuals emerged from the wreckage, their faces marked with relief mixed with disbelief. Mark felt a wave of gratitude wash over him as he surveyed the scene. Despite the terror that had unfolded, there was an undeniable sense of unity among those who had come together in response to the crisis. Strangers had become allies, working side by side to ensure that no one was left behind. It was a testament to the human spirit. When faced with unimaginable circumstances, people could rise to the occasion and support each other. "Is everyone accounted for?" Mark called out, scanning the crowd for any signs of distress or need for assistance. The response from his team was reassuring. They had done everything they could under the circumstances. As he caught sight of the elderly man and child he had helped earlier, a smile broke through his exhaustion. They were safe now, standing together with others who had once been terrified but were now empowered by their shared experience. In this moment of reflection, Mark recognized that they had not only survived, but also transformed a horrifying ordeal into a powerful demonstration of solidarity. They emerged victorious, having faced their fears and fought for one another's safety. The bond created in those dire moments would forever linger in their hearts, a reminder of hope amid despair. As the first responders flooded into the café, their uniforms a stark contrast to the chaos that had just unfolded, Mark stepped back to catch his breath. The sounds of sirens and the sight of trained professionals brought a wave of relief, yet the adrenaline still coursed through his veins. He watched as paramedics took over, efficiently assessing the situation and attending to the wounded while police officers began securing the area. In this moment of transition, Mark reflected on the harrowing events that had transpired within such a short span of time. The quiet morning he had envisioned was now replaced by an experience that would forever change him. Despite the horror of the explosion, he found solace in the knowledge that lives had been saved. Many people were now safe because they had acted together when it mattered most. Mark felt a deep sense of gratitude for those who had stood by him, transforming panic into action. He recognized that bravery often emerges from moments of desperation, and today was a testament to the strength found in unity. As he looked around at the faces of those he had helped rescue, both familiar and new, he understood that this bond forged through crisis was powerful and enduring. With a heavy heart but renewed purpose, Mark resolved to carry this experience forward. It was a reminder that even in the darkest hours, courage can shine brightly, and individuals can rise up to protect one another. Today was not just about survival. It was about forging connections that would last long after the chaos had faded.